broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. As we celebrate this anniversary, we honor, in particular, the role of the volunteer, the person who pledges to serve so that others may live in peace. This month is the 35th anniversary of the United States Army becoming an all-volunteer force. The same selfless service that characterized our soldiers during the American Revolution lives on in today's soldiers, active, guard, and reserve. Seldom in our history have our men and women in uniform faced greater challenges. They serve at a time when stakes for our nation and the demands on our force are significant. The all-volunteer force continues to embody the best characteristics of our nation as it safeguards our freedoms for current and future generations of Americans. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of the Army, the Honorable Pete Guerin.
General Casey, general officers, senior civilians, and most importantly, our soldiers who are re-enlisting and our recruits who are enlisting. Welcome to this great occasion on this beautiful, it feels like a spring day, but a summer day. Great day to celebrate two important events in the life of our Army, the re-enlistment and enlistment of soldiers and the 35th anniversary of our all-volunteer force. In the Old Testament, in the book of Isaiah, there's a passage that reads, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, Here am I, send me." Today we celebrate two great occasions, your enlistment and re-enlistment, and the anniversary of the all-volunteer force. Two celebrations made possible because men and women such as you stood up and said, "Here am I, send me." And I can tell you, you look around you today and you think who stands behind you and who stands with you, you know you do not stand alone. Today we're an army of over 1 million soldiers, active guard and reserve, over 200,000 Army civilians, and over 200,000 Army contractors, and over 600,000 Army families, all standing together, standing Army strong. Our Army is the strength of our nation, because our soldiers, our civilians, and our Army families do stand together no matter how tough the times get. Volunteers, every single one of you, answering our nation's call in this time of war. And today, you join and you rejoin the best led, the best trained, and the best equipped Army on the face of the earth. Thank you for your commitment. You are the greatest of this generation, and we pledge our best to you and to your families. And we celebrate the 35th anniversary of what you are, a national treasure, our all-volunteer force. There are many who did not believe that an all-volunteer force could ever succeed, perhaps in time of peace, but not in time of war, and certainly not in time of a long war. But succeed you have. Succeed our Army has, and has exceeded the greatest expectation of even the most optimistic. We are in our 6th year of war in Iraq and our 7th year in Afghanistan, and our Army is strong. Our Army families are strong. Stretched, stressed, but strong. And each year, over 170,000 men and women join our Army, a number equal to the size of the entire United States Marine Corps join our Army every single year in time of war. And every year, for the last several years, we have exceeded our re-enlistment goals. Every year, more and more men and women stand up and say, I'm with you and I'm staying with you. Creighton Abrams told us that people are not in the Army, people are the Army. Soldiers, Army civilians, and Army families. Volunteers, every one. You are our Army. You are the United States Army. And God has blessed our nation with you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Secretary Guerin. We would now like to recognize those soldiers who have made the commitment to continue to serve in the United States Army. Staff Sergeant Mia Torre from San Antonio, Texas. Sergeant Christopher Thomas from Bossier City, Louisiana. Specialist J.C. Collier from Hampton, Virginia. Staff Sergeant Todd Robinson, Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Sergeant Jennifer Harper from Dinwiddie, Virginia. Specialist James Cook from Midland, Texas. Staff Sergeant Sean Sands from Warren, Michigan. Staff Sergeant Todd Roy from Lafayette, Louisiana. Staff Sergeant Kevin Richards from the Bronx, New York. Specialist Luciana Batts, Long Island, New York. Staff Sergeant Luis Barreto from Hamilton, New Jersey. Staff Sergeant Scott Kanamura from San Mateo, California. Staff Sergeant Scott Jamison from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Staff Sergeant Kevin Oldman from Mabane, North Carolina. Staff Sergeant Gabrielle Del Fiaro from Maka'ilo, Hawaii. Staff Sergeant Robert Lynch from Warren, South Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief of Staff of the Army, General George W. Casey, Jr., will now administer the oath of re-enlistment.
First of all, congratulations to all of you. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your full name. You solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulation and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, Staff Sergeant Mia Torre.
Good morning. I would first like to thank Secretary Guerin, the Chief of Staff of the Army, General Casey, for arranging this great re-enlistment ceremony on this special day. As you all know, today marks the 35th anniversary of the All-Volunteer Force. I am truly honored to be a part of the greatest and strongest force in the world today, that is the United States Army. I first enlisted into the U.S. Army back in February of 1996 as an administrative specialist. I was only 17 years old and just finishing up my junior year in high school out of San Antonio, Texas. I served from Fort Hood, Texas to Camp Red Cloud, Korea, to Fort Bliss, Texas, and then went recruiting into Mid-Atlantic Recruiting Battalion, and currently recruiting here as a station commander also with the Mighty Gladiators, the Baltimore Recruiting Battalion. To be honest, 10 years ago, I never imagined I would be standing here today in front of all of y'all doing my third re-enlistment. But that's what the Army is all about, providing opportunity and ongoing adventure. One of the reasons I enlisted into the Army was to carry on the tradition that was set forth before me by my father, who also served in the Army 20 years and retired as a soldier. The Army provided me the opportunity to not only learn one skill, but to learn three. I also met my husband of 9 years, who also served in the Army as well. I told my mom that the Army would issue everything I needed, including him. On a serious note, I decided to re-enlist not only for myself and for my family, but like so many others before me, and now today, just the need to serve my country. Take a look around us. We are a mixture of diverse backgrounds from all walks of life. Some of us come from small towns, other of us come from the countryside, some of us from big cities, and even some of us joined from different countries. But the one thing we all have in common is that we have the strength and the courage to do what so many others can't or just aren't able to do. We gladly and willingly serve our country and ensure its way of life. And that is why we continue to be successful as an all-volunteer force. And to all my fellow recruiters, I would like to say continue doing a great job of providing the strength. We all know that it is a tasking not everyone can handle. And in closing, I would again like to thank Secretary Guerin and General Casey and all others who have made today possible. Godspeed and Army Strong.
Thank you, Sergeant Torre. We would now like to recognize those recruits who have decided to pledge to serve their country by serving in the United States Army. Evan Shimon from Woodbridge, Virginia. Yuriko Vasquez from Arlington, Virginia. Malika Hamilton from Kingston, Jamaica. Claire O'Connor from Arlington, Virginia. Henry Portillo from Falls Church, Virginia. Michael Crum from Woodbridge, Virginia. Kyle Felix from Stuttgart, Germany. Hillary Vincent, Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. Jared Smith from Lackland, Texas. Eric Myers from Woodbridge, Virginia. Daniel Torres from Lima, Peru. Jason Black from Woodbridge, Virginia. Timothy St. Pierre from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Michael Seeberger from Fredericksburg, Virginia. And Gabriel Dubois from Fredericksburg, Virginia. At this time, General Casey will now administer the oath of enlistment.
Welcome to you all. Congratulations. Raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your full name. You solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulation and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Evan Shimon.
How's everybody doing? Well, I was asked to come up here and talk on behalf of my fellow comrades and myself, but I cannot fully state everybody else's story because everybody else's story is different. As it was said, my name is Evan Shimon. I'm the age of 18. I made a decision to join the Army. It was something I felt I had to do. It was met with some criticism as to why I was joining at the age of 18. You're so young, you're throwing your life away, you know you're going to go overseas. And I thought about it. It was something I decided to do. My answer was always the same. It's probably the most selfless act that anyone can do. Day after day we stand up, put our lives on the line to defend our country and ensure the freedoms that we all take for granted. It was an experience I wish to have. It make everybody a better person, and it makes everybody strong. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Shimon. The young American who just spoke represents thousands who have answered the nation's call to duty. This group of recruits is embarking on a life-changing growth experience. Army training and experience shapes people's lives so they are engineered and driven to succeed throughout their time in the Army and throughout their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, General Casey.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. What an absolutely magnificent day. And I must say, I could not do a better job of characterizing why the all-volunteer force has been so successful over and above the words that Sergeant Torre and Evan have just shared with us. That's what this force is all about. On Memorial Day I had the occasion to go to the wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington. Then I went down to the Vietnam Memorial, and I made a speech there commemorating the wall. Then my wife and I walked over to the Korean Memorial and the World War II Memorial. And I was struck by two things. I was struck by the scope of the sacrifice, and I was struck by how lucky the United States of America is and has been to have men and women like these who are willing to step forward in times of danger and fight for the values and ideals that this country stands for. So how about joining me in a big hand for these great men and women here? And I'll say you hear a lot of chatter about why folks are coming in or aren't coming in. I say, why are they coming in and why are they staying? And I believe it's because, first of all, men and women like these believe in the values and ideals that this country stands for. They believe they can make a difference in the world at a critical time in our nation's history. And they are quite proud to be part of an organization that is resoundingly the best in the world at what it does. So welcome. Now, a little bit on the 35th anniversary of the all-volunteer force. Having been in the Army 38 years, it's almost the story of my career. And I can remember back in the early days of the 70s, as this program began to unfold, and Lieutenant Casey and his sergeants were wrestling with these notions that were sure to undermine the discipline of this great organization. Beer in the mess halls, brand new furniture in the barracks, no longer having to sign in and sign out to go on pass. But yet, the Chief of Staff of the Army, General William Westmoreland, and the Secretary of the Army, Stanley Reeser, and the head of the Volunteer Force Office, Lieutenant General George Forsyth, they had a different vision. They believed that the changes that they were making would instill discipline in a force that had been ravaged over time in the Vietnam War and with a largely draftee Army. And not surprisingly, the chief was right, and Lieutenant Casey and his troops didn't quite get it right. Lieutenants, they don't always get it right, they just think they do. But the force that has grown from those humble beginnings is the most resilient, combat-seasoned professional force that I believe the world has seen. And you're joining that force today. Men and women like these are the heart and soul of our Army. Our soldiers, families, and civilians are what separate this Army from any other Army in the world and separate this armed forces from any other armed forces in the world. So congratulations to you all today for enlisting and re-enlisting in this Army. And it's a little-known fact, I think, that last year, 2007, almost 300,000 men and women enlisted in the Army, the Guard, and Reserve. And that says a lot about the quality of the young people in our country. So thank you very much for all you do. Thank you all for joining us. And I look forward to the 70th anniversary in about 35 years. Thank you.
Thank you, General Casey. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Soldier's Creed and remain standing for the singing of the Army song. The words to the Army song have been provided for you.
I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I will always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am professional. I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I am the guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier.
Rolling along, proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the Army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the Army's on its way. Count all
Thank you for attending today's ceremony. Please join us in congratulating our new recruits, the re-enlisting soldiers, and their family members.